Good morning, this is Kris Shoemaker, also known as Yehudah ben Shomeyr, and you're listening to Coffee with Kris, the time of the day where we share a cup of coffee and share a bit of the Word of God. All right, we are on our second Sidra, our second Aliyah of our Torah portion for this week in Leviticus chapter 9, verses 1, all the way to chapter 11, verses 47. The Torah portion is called Shimini, which means eighth. An eighth is a spiritual symbol of new beginnings because 7 is a complete cycle, 7 is a complete week, so 8 is a new beginning. And this is the new beginning of the ministry of the Kohanim, the Levitical priesthood. So our little Torah portion today, our Sidra, comes from Leviticus chapter 9, verses 17 through 23, and I'm going to be reading verses 18 through 20. It says, "He also slaughtered the bull and the ram as the sacrifice of fellowship offerings for the people. Then his sons brought him the blood, which he splashed all around the altar, as well as the fat from the bull and the ram, the fat tail and the layer over the innards, along with the kidneys and the covering of the liver. They put the fat upon the breast, and he burned it on the altar. But the breast and the right thigh Aaron waved for a wave offering before Adonai, as Moses had commanded." Now, if the Ark of the Covenant represents God's throne on earth, it can be said that the brazen altar represents our burning heart. Just as the altar had to be covered on all sides with sacrificial blood, so too, our hearts need to be covered in the blood of Yeshua by accepting his substitutionary sacrifice on the cross for us. Just as the fat of the animal is burned up on the altar, so too the fat of our lives, representing our carnal pleasures and representing our anxieties, because scientists say that trauma is stored in the fat. We need to lay the fat of our lives on the altar, and we need to completely surrender it all on the altar of our hearts for him. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to Coffee with Kris. Just a reminder, you can catch Coffee with Kris as well as Crumbs of Torah on www.abrahamsdescendants.com, right there on the homepage. You can also catch it on the podcast, The Rabbinic Pastor's Pulpit. I also have a second podcast called The Rabbinic Pastor's Podcast, where we are studying right now the book of Genesis. You could also catch Coffee with Kris and all the other sermons that I do on the Christopher Shoemaker YouTube channel. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. Shalom, and God bless.